They told you being alone was a weakness, that silence meant emptiness, that solitude meant sadness, that wanting space meant something was wrong with you. But here's the truth. The world fears the man who's comfortable in solitude, because the one who needs no one can't be controlled by anyone. Let's break something right now. Being alone does not mean being lonely. You've been told to chase connection, approval, validation, constantly surrounded, constantly seen, always online, always reachable, always performing. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard your own voice, without the noise of the world drowning it out? Solitude isn't isolation, it's purification. It's the moment the world stops screaming and you start listening. Most people run from solitude because they're afraid of what they'll hear in the silence, afraid of the unresolved pain, afraid of their own thoughts, afraid they might finally meet the version of themselves they've been hiding from. And that's why they drown themselves in noise, scrolling, partying, posting, always in motion, never in presence. But if you can face the silence, if you can stand alone without flinching, you become untouchable. Because solitude forces one thing no distraction ever will: confrontation. You meet your demons, you see your flaws, you feel your insecurities, but you also find your core. And once you know who you are, truly, no one can take that from you. Think of the strongest people you admire, the ones who move with calm, the ones who don't react, the ones who seem grounded in chaos. You know what they all have in common? They've been alone, and they didn't run from it. They let solitude burn away the fake layers. They rebuilt themselves without applause, without an audience. That's where real power is born. Not in front of the crowd, in the quiet, when no one's watching. See, the system doesn't want you to be self-sufficient. A person who needs nothing is a threat. A person who doesn't crave validation can't be sold insecurity. A person who's comfortable in solitude doesn't need to perform for approval, so they sell you the lie. Being alone means something's wrong with you. Don't sit with your thoughts. Distract yourself. Go out. Be seen. Stay busy. But here's the flip side. The more comfortable you are being alone, the more selective you become. And when you become selective, you stop giving your energy to things that don't serve you. That's power. Solitude is a mirror that doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It reflects exactly what's there. That's why it's painful. But that's also why it's priceless. When you sit alone, really alone, no phone, no distractions, you start to notice what you crave, what hurts, what you've been avoiding. And that's when you begin to understand what needs to heal. It's in solitude that we begin the real work. Not the kind you post about, but the kind that transforms you quietly. There's something unshakable about a person who's not afraid to walk alone. Not because they hate others, but because they've tasted peace, and they won't trade it for chaos disguised as company. That's what solitude gives you. Clarity. Clarity about who you are, what matters, what's noise, and what's truth, what's real, and what's performative. And when you no longer need people, you begin to choose better ones. You stop tolerating shallow conversations, fake friendships, forced energy. You stop apologizing for your standards because you've seen what it's like to stand alone and not crumble. Solitude is not an escape. It's a forge. You go in as one version of yourself, and if you're brave enough, you come out as something stronger, not colder, but clearer, not bitter, but better, not closed, but contained. It teaches you to be your own shelter, your own fire, your own compass. And that kind of self-reliance, that's the foundation of unshakable confidence. Because now, you don't need to prove anything. You're not chasing worth, you're protecting it. Everyone should walk alone at some point in their life. Leave the noise. Leave the group chats. Leave the pressure to be seen. Go be invisible for a while. Let the world forget you, so you can remember yourself. And when you come back stronger. Come back more whole. Come back grounded, with eyes that see through the fake, and a soul that's no longer desperate for attention. The world needs more people like that. Now let's be clear. There's a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is when you're missing connection. Solitude is when you're reconnecting with yourself. Loneliness feels like absence. Solitude feels like presence. Loneliness shrinks you. Solitude expands you. When you understand that difference, you stop fearing alone time and you start craving it. Solitude hands you a gift that nothing else can: self-awareness. And self-awareness, that's the beginning of everything. Because once you know who you are, you stop settling, you stop chasing, you stop breaking yourself to fit into boxes you were never meant for. You start building your life around truth, not approval. And the more time you spend with yourself, the less tolerance you have for things that pull you away from peace. You begin to say no more often, not out of fear, but out of knowing what's not worth your time. You realize that your energy is currency, and solitude taught you how expensive it is to waste it. You begin protecting your peace like it's sacred, because now it is. You don't chase closure. You don't need applause. You don't perform to be chosen. You simply are. And that's enough. So here's the shift. Solitude is no longer something to avoid. It's something to seek intentionally. Because the person who sits alone, who listens, reflects, heals, and builds in the dark, is the same person who walks into the light unshaken. They don't beg to be seen. They don't perform to be loved. They exist in fullness, with or without applause. That's what solitude creates. Not emptiness, but wholeness. So if you've been afraid to be alone, try it. Not for the world, for you. Go for a walk with no music. Sit in your room with no distractions. Ask yourself what you actually want, not what you were told to want. Then go even deeper. Write it down. Sit with your discomfort. Name your fears. Track your thoughts. Notice what patterns come up. Notice what your body holds when no one else is around. That's the language of truth, and solitude is the translator. And if you've already felt the power of solitude, then you know. You know why your peace feels non-negotiable now. You know why your energy is guarded. You know why you're no longer desperate to be understood. Because you finally understand yourself. And that changes everything. In a world addicted to noise, the quiet ones rule themselves. And the one who rules themselves can never be ruled by anyone else.